fire, me can't deny that. Many girl for me and buy you brother. Tell me who on you, mommy water. I go be your Santa. Na na de, na na de. Where you day, I go day. And baby I'll be there. You make a bad man one color. I'm on na na de, na na de. Where you day, I go day with you. Me and you be mood. No, no. Na na de, na na de. Where you day.
I sure. So what's your
right now, right now, right now, right. This is DJ Maestro. Right now, right now.
Good evening, esteemed audience of Radio Windy Bay 98.3 FM. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to God for enabling the Civic Education Club University of Education Winneba chapter to launch its second radio program this semester, marking the inaugural broadcast of Franklin Lewis-led administration and the second half of our inception. We are thrilled to have you all join us once again, and we look forward to having an insightful section with the National Commission for Civic Education and the Civic Education Club University of Education Winneba. We welcome you all. Ambassadors.
For peace.
Ambassadors.
For the 1992 Constitution.
Ambassadors.
For Ghana.
Great. It's also a privilege for me to introduce this week's topic, which is why do we have a constitution in country, or why should we have a constitution as a country? And people or the panelists going to assist me to delve into this topic are Mr. Louis Agbali, who is a political science level 300 student and the vice president of Civic Education Club. Ms. Rabi Muftau, a level 200 political science student and also a member of the Civic Education Club. And we are glad and thrilled to also have with us Ms. Araba Intiwa from the National Commission for Civic Education, Efutu Municipal Directorate. You are welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so talking about our topic for tonight, why must we have a constitution? The constitution has been something that most of us have idea about, but you know we always fear whenever we hear about it. So today we want to look into it. Why is it a necessity for us to know or for us to have a constitution as a country? So I will start with Mr. Louis Agbali. Can you please tell us what a constitution is and why do you think we should have a constitution?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Afro, for your question. I would love to use this opportunity to say a very good evening to our cherished listeners and viewers. And back to the question. When we say a constitution, basically, constitution is a set of rules and regulations used to govern a human society. And that is to say, a constitution sets up the framework for the agreed rules and regulations, procedures for organizing the business of government, and the affairs of the state. And I think every citizen needs to know the Constitution, in the sense that when we become conversant with the contents of the Constitution, we will be able to provide our maximum support towards nation building Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Louis Agbeli. Madam Rabi Muftau, can you also say something little about what constitution is in support of what Mr. Louis has said to us already?
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Afu. Constitution is a body of a fundamental principle which a state or other organization is acknowledged to be governed. A constitution may be written and unwritten, and then in Ghana, constitution is the 1992 constitution, and it is the fundamental law of the land. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for your wonderful answer to the question. Having, come to know the meaning of constitution and what it entails, as we have been informed and educated by our representative here, we would want to go specifically into the 1992 constitution, and we will go to our NCC representative here to speak to us about how the Fourth Republican Constitution came into being. So, Ms. Araba, kindly assist us with that.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening to our listeners. My name is Miss Araba Bonzawa Entiwa. I know you couldn't really get it well.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I'm here to talk about how the 1992 Constitution came into existence.
Yeah.
So from December 31st, 1981, the then military officer, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings of blessed memory, staged a coup d'etat. It was a bloodless coup d'etat, meaning no one died.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And overthrew the then People's National Party, PNP, from governmental power.
Okay.
So after overthrowing them, he formed the Provisional National Defense Council, PNDC.
Okay.
And he chaired that political party. Yes. And he ruled Ghana with the PNDC from 1981 till 19 years on.
Wow.
Yes. After some time, there was both domestic and international pressure for Ghana to return to democratic rule because it was a military rule.
Okay.
Yes. And at that time, Russia was practicing communism and socialism, and they had started developing what we call the perestroika and glasnost, which means they were doing political reforms like elections, which were not initially part of their system.
Okay.
Yes, so all these things were part of the pressure that was mounted on Ghana to return to democratic rule. Yes. And so finally the PNDC, chaired by Rawlings, succumbed to this pressure and started the process to return Ghana to constitutional rule. And by doing that, they formed a 258-member consultative assembly, which was made up of members representing geographic districts as well as established civic or business organizations.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And it was chaired by someone called Chiana Piope Roland Adiali Ayagitam.
Wow.
Yes. That he chaired the consultative assembly. So the consultative assembly drafted the 1992 constitution, and they did that based on proposals submitted by the PNDC as well as previous constitutions of Ghana, that is the 1957 constitution, 1969 constitution, and the 1979, and the reports of committee of experts.
Okay.
So with all these, the final drafts for the 1992 constitution was brought for Ghanaians to decide on whether they will accept it or not.
All right.
So this was done through a referendum which was held on 28 April 1992. So the main issues in the referendum were whether Ghanaians were going to accept the reintroduction of multi-party politics and the division of powers between the president and the parliament or not.
Okay.
So during the referendum, there was a total number of registered voters, which was 8,255,690 people. Wow. That was the total number of registered voters. And out of this total number of registered voters, it was 3,680,974 people who voted. That means those who didn't vote were 4,574,716. They didn't vote. Okay. So out of those who voted, 3,408,119 people, who formed 92.59% of the total number of the total number of those who voted. Yes. They voted yes for the constitutional rule. Okay. And the remaining 272,855 people, they formed 7.41%. They voted no. So obviously it means Ghana was going to return to a constitutional rule. So on 18th May 1992, the ban on multi-party system was lifted by the PNDC on all political parties, and people were allowed to form their own political parties. Okay. This was because when they took over, they banned all political parties from existing, and then they dissolved parliament. So once the people of Ghana in the referendum accepted the constitutional rule, the ban was lifted. Okay. And out of this, even the PNDC formed the National Democratic Congress. That is the NDC. They also contested for the elections. So people who formed the political parties, including the PNDC forming NDC, they all contested in the elections. And the presidential election was held on 3rd November 1992, whilst the parliamentary elections was held on 29 December 1992. And again, Rawlings won. Obviously. Yes. After which he ruled for 4 years. Then another election was held. He ruled. He won again. Then he ruled. So, I think so. They ruled for eight years before Kufuor came into government. So this is how the Constitution of Ghana, the Fourth Republic Constitution of Ghana, came into being, and it started on 7th January 1993. So this is what I can say about how the Constitution came into existence. Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for such an insightful education. I believe that our audience in the house and those around have noted certain things down, considering the dates and the time that all these activities took place, considering the bloodless coup d'etat that brought in place, so many changes in our political system. Having come to know the history behind the 1992 Constitution in a brief that you've given us, you would move forward to look at what's the content of the Constitution and how beneficial these things are. So I would want to ask, that is Mr. Louis Agbeli, why should the citizens know the Constitution, inferring from what Ms. Araba has said?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Afo. From what Ms. Araba said, I think when citizens know the Constitution, and they will be able to understand the contents of that Constitution, and then they will also participate fully in the processes involved in the governance of the country. And then, in addition to that, when citizens become very conversant, like I said earlier, when they become very conversant with the Constitution or the contents of the Constitution, since the Constitution was in favor of the citizens, since they were the ones who voted for the Constitution, according to what my sister said, I think when they become very conversant with the contents of the Constitution, they will also stand a better chance to make meaningful contributions to nation building. So, by so doing, they will be able to promote and defend the 1992 Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Louis. That's an insightful one from you. So, on the same question, I would like Ms. Rabi to also share with us why the citizens of Ghana, especially students, should know the Constitution.
Thank you very much, Mr. Afo. Understanding our rights under the Constitution allows citizens to hold government officials accountability for protecting these rights and to advocate for themselves and others when those rights are threatened against them.
Okay.
That's what I can add to Mr. Louis' statement. Thank you.
All right, great. So Ms. Rabi is saying that if the citizen comes to know the Constitution, it helps to hold those in official accountable for whatever actions they take. That is when the MPs and ministers come to say whole lot. The citizen, knowing your legal rights and responsibilities, you delve much deeper to ask for accountability on that basis. We would like our NCC staff member here to also share with us her thoughts on the essence of citizens knowing their Constitution.
Thank you very much once again. And before I answer, I'd like to wish everyone Happy Val's Day.
Thank you.
Okay, so back to the question. Why is it important for citizens to know the Constitution? The first one that I would say is to know their rights, duties and responsibilities, and this can be found in the chapter 6 of the 1992 Constitution. Chapter 6, the directive principles of state policies. Yes, and Article 41 clause, and Article 41 that states the duties of a citizen. So, that is my first point. Then the second point is it helps Ghanaians, like it helps the citizens to know the laws governing the country, because it is the overall or the supreme law of the country.
Okay.
So without the Constitution, there are no laws.
Okay.
So once the citizens know the Constitution, they know the laws, they know their left and right, they know what to do as citizens. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Araba Intiwa, for such a wonderful submission. Our phone lines are open for comments in as well as remarks from audience, and the lines are 050 392 3158, 050 392 3158. We are open to hear your submissions and comments on whatever that has been shared here. So we hope that you send in your questions and they will be answered appropriately by my wonderful guests here and their submission. So whilst we wait for the question, I would also like, since Miss Araba said rightly, I think today is Val's Day, and she was in a haste to wish the loved ones. I'll give a chance to all our panelists to also do the same. So starting with Ms. Rabi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Afo. Happy Val's Day to everyone watching us on live TV. My mom, my dad, my family, and then to my best friend, Abdullah Aida, and to my favorite pal, Abdul Ahir, and Asante Jacob. All right.
Thank you. All right, so Mr. Louis Abeli.
Thank you, Mr. Afo. I'll also use this opportunity to wish the entire geography students a happy Val's Day, and then especially to my roommates, that's Mr. Nublado and Mr. Isaac Benjamin. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We would give Miss Araba another chance to do such thing. So kindly extend your heartfelt wishes to your Thank
you very much. I would first of all wish God.
Wow.
And then God is my first love. So
Okay.
yes, he's my sugar daddy.
Okay.
Then my earthly father,
Okay.
earthly mom, my brother. Then to NCC staff in Winneba.
Okay.
Yes. And then to all my friends, but I have one, Na Shabura Basi. I know
Okay.
she's not here in
Okay.
this, but I'll still wish her.
All right. Thank you
Yes.
very much
Thank you very
for
much.
your wishes. Now, we've heard a lot from our panelists here. I believe that whilst you were in the house, you've heard something. You've written something down, and this historical exegesis that has been said about the 1992 Constitution, as well as the reasons and the purposes for which we should know our Constitution, will be well delved into. I want to use this platform to invite all and sundry who are on the land of University of Education, Winneba, to register and join the association, that is the Civic Education Club, which is a flagship program under the National Commission for Civic Education. And our activities are loud and clear. And that when you join us, you are going to, just as last week was discussed here, you are going to have the avenue to connect and have other significance advantage to excel yourself in the academic field. We want to use this privilege to thank our patron for assistance, that is a professor from the Dean of School of Graduates, that is Professor Brahima Imura, for his assistance. And I say that this is all that time will allow us to do for today. Do try and make time with us every Wednesday on the same network from 9 p.m. to 9:30. And do not forget to register, as I said earlier, to join the Civic Education Club, University of Education, Winneba chapter. Thank you, Executive Producer Mr. Collins K. Ewuku and Mr. Bright Fuga, for your assistance. Thank you. See you next time.
Just the right mix of music. 98.3.
98.3.
I go be your Santa. Na, na.